Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Talkin Kop. I'm Gav. That's Kev, back from his holiday. Look at him all tanned and gorgeous. Wednesday, the 1st of May. Wednesday, the 1st of May. This show will be all about football. Because if we do anything other than football, people get awful upset. And I don't know. But just as we've had a meeting, and from now on, the Monday show will be called Not a Lot of Football to be Discussed. That's the working title. Yeah, Mondays.
Not a lot
Bit
of
of football.
football, sure.
Bit of football, loads of crack, and just swerve if you're not into any crack. If you're only into football, swerve Monday nights. Don't listen to us, don't watch us. I'd rather that than people just giving out to me. Okay, Kev. Paul
Yeah.
Gallagher says he's waiting on the McDonald's. You get McDonald's delivery. It'll be bleeding freezing by the time it comes to you. Them chips have to be eaten within like 90 seconds. We're going into random stuff, aren't we? Them chips have to be them chips have to be eaten within 90 seconds of purchase, or else they're fucking freezing, Paul. So
Yeah.
the best of luck with it, have the
The
microwave
trick,
at the
the
at the
trick,
ready.
the trick with them: go into McDonald's and ask them for your fries,
With
but
no
ask them for
salt.
without any salt.
Yeah, and then they
They
have to
have to do it.
recook them. Yeah. That's
Yeah,
it.
they have to do it.
Right, if you're in, hit the like button. Hit the like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. If you want to become a member, please do. It's there for $3.99 a month. We're bringing you as many shows as we can for that, and it's a great support to the channel. Kev, loads to talk about tonight. It's all football. What do you want to start with? Go on, you're back from your holidays. Go for it.
Start with. I think Chris has probably climbed off the ceiling now because I'd imagine he was through all levels of stress watching LFC women against
He
Chelsea
was at the game.
tonight. No, I don't know if he was at the game, but he was definitely
I'm
live
nearly sure
commentating
I
the whole
seen.
bloody thing.
I'm nearly sure I seen a post from him across social media saying, with his daughter saying, "Ready for the game," and it looked like he was in a
Oh,
stadium.
fantastic!
Unless the
Well, if
sitting
they were
room
at
looks like a
this,
stadium.
if they were at this, what a game to be at! I mean, Chelsea are without doubt one of the best women's football sides in the world. Just got knocked out of the Champions League semi-finals at the weekend by Barcelona by a controversial goal, and to get a 4-3 win against them, having lost 5-1 to them earlier in the season.
Mm.
Monumental effort. And at the minute, they're sat in fifth in the table, level on points with Manchester United. And given this is their second season up in the WSL, they're having a fantastic run of it.
Yeah, they seem
Leanne
to be built.
Kernan scored the winner tonight as well.
Yeah, they seem to be building something there because that move to Melbourne is huge for the women's team
Yeah.
to have their own base, and the whole social media and I suppose the exposure around them is growing all the time. AXA, of course, have announced, and that's part of our news tonight, but AXA have announced a deal with till 2029 with Liverpool that will cover the training centres, the training gear and centres at both Melwood and Kirby. So the whole women's team, I think, it's really building, and you can see if you look at the likes of Chelsea, Arsenal, Man City, and other clubs around Europe, how big it can get, and how I suppose how successful it can get. Liverpool seem to be building something that not built on sand, not just throwing a load of money at it and hope that to get instant success. This seems to be building nicely, and Chris is a huge fan of the women's team. He is so because his daughter is a young female footballer and adores the women's team, and Chris does his absolute best to bring her to as many games as possible. So to see them win that match tonight, I didn't see it, I'm going to be honest. I was
Well,
working, but to see them winning
it
that
was
tonight is really, really good.
9 minutes of injury time, and I watched the last. I only flicked it over at halftime in the Champions League,
Yeah.
and I saw a tweet saying that it was 3-2, so I turned it over. It's 3-3. Liverpool then just scored, and the Liverpool keeper made this save on about the 96th minute, and it was as good as anything you'll see. It was a fantastic save. The Chelsea really should have scored. They'd be kicking themselves if they didn't. But they defended brilliantly. And to get that win tonight is massive for the club.
Yeah,
Huge.
I will actually go and look for the highlights after this show and see if I can get them. Paul Gallagher's back, a double quarter-pounder meal with Coke. Nice.
Nice.
Nice. The only thing is, with McDonald's is you order a double quarter-pounder meal and the all like literally 7 times out of 10 you just get a quarter-pounder meal. They're not asked for that double stuff. Even if you ask for it and they charge you for it, you just end up with one burger. Anyway. Well done to the women's team. Go and check the highlights out if you haven't already. And yeah, great win. Chris will be delighted. And yeah, brilliant stuff. What are we going to next? Will we go to John Achterberg? John Achterberg will depart Liverpool at the end of the season after, did I read 15 years at the club?
15 years, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And you know, we seen the announcements of Jurgen Klopp and Pep and the other the names have escaped me. What's your man's name that's leaving?
Peter
Yeah,
Craven?
yeah. And then you had the
was the original.
other
It was
guy.
the four of them, wasn't it?
Yeah, there was four of them
going.
going. Anyway, I can't remember the two of them. It's gone out of my head, right? Sorry, Next Level has written it down for us. Jurgen Klopp, Pep Linders, Peter Kravitz, and Vitor Matos were leaving the club. Okay, at the end of the season, which was fine. That was the announcement that was made. The whole stuff around Arne Slot, and we're not allowed to call him Arnie anymore because I listened to a brilliant podcast the other day, and the guy on it was like, "It's not Arnie, it's Arne Slot." So,
Slut.
yeah, Arne Schlut, stuff like that. So, John Achterberg will leave at the end of the season. Is this the start of Arne Slot making moves as to who he wants and who he may bring in with him? It seems that way, Kev.
I think he'll get the pick of. I think he'll be able to bring in his own coaching staff, the people who he's going to work with on a daily basis. I don't think he's going to have any real influence on transfers, nor should he. But yeah, this is more or less wipe the slate clean. This season that we're in at the minute, start of Klopp 2.0, the start of Liverpool, a regeneration really with the transfer business. This is more, we've had the Edward stuff, we've had Richard Hughes. It's like an almost top-down restructuring now of everything that's off the pitch. And John Achterberg, 15 years, came in under Kenny, was a keeper at Tranmere, got an awful lot of stick early on. He's probably the last.
David does point out that Achterberg made Mignolet and Karius both rubbish. Which look,
bad workmen and tools.
I'm not going into the whole fucking madness that John Achterberg arrived and every goalkeeper that came to him just were brittle. Like honestly, Pepe Reina, the Moyes or is downward curve at Liverpool.
He got blamed for that as well.
Has nothing to do with John Achterberg.
No,
you know what I mean. Like honestly, if John Achterberg come in and said to him, "Don't use your hands," right? And Pepe Reina went out and didn't use his hand, you go, John Achterberg is clearly responsible for that because he's done. But goalkeepers they reach a sell by day. You know what I mean? Pepe Reina went off. He was first choice, I think, maybe at one club or two clubs after that, and then he wasn't. Do you know that sort of way? And Mignolet has gone back to the Belgian league, okay, and done quite well. But Mignolet done quite well at times for Liverpool. Karius, listen. Karius was a good shot-stopping goalkeeper. It's just his head wasn't in it. His head wasn't there. And he's sitting currently third choice at Newcastle. So it's not like they've gone off and they've turned into world beaters. Like, blaming the goalkeeping coach for the regression of a goalkeeper, for me, is mad. Absolutely mad. Yeah. But, listen, John Achterberg will leave the club. But, Kev, it does look like, Arne Slot has turned around. And if this is all done and dusted, and he's went, look, get this out of the way early. I don't think he wants to arrive at the club and there's people at the club that he doesn't want there. That's difficult conversations that not he might have to have, but difficult kind of in a kind of an awkward room. If there's people clearly that he doesn't want there are there. So, Darren says there, Slot is golfing buddies with Sander Westerveld. Could he be bringing him in? But this is where the decisions come now, isn't it? This is like if he's moving a goalkeeping coach out. Taffarel, of course, I think is staying.
Taffarel is there.
Yeah, well, so. It's just these are the knock-on effects of having a new manager.
Yeah, does Taffarel's role expand at the club? I mean, he's already Brazil's coach.
Yeah,
he works with Alisson. He works with the Brazil, some of the first team keepers. But it seems to be with Taffarel that it's more of a casual thing.
Yeah,
and to be fair, John Achterberg is 50. He's 6 months older than me. Yeah, so he's 51, 52. At the end of the day, he might fancy going off and being an assistant manager somewhere, rather than a goalkeeping coach. He's been at the club. He came in under Kenny, worked under Brendan, worked with Klopp for years. He has to have picked up stuff other than the goalkeeping side of it. There's every chance that if Pep Linders takes on a job somewhere, that John Achterberg might become his assistant or a part of the first team coaching staff somewhere else. He's still young enough to be able to go and do that. We don't know, but at the end of the day, he's been at the club for 15 years. And I was under the impression actually that when Klopp said that he was going, that he did mention John Achterberg that he would be staying.
Hmm.
Whether that came directly from Klopp or someone within the club saying, John Achterberg is staying.
Yeah.
So it could be Slot. We don't know. But, I mean, at the end of the day, by June 1st, when Arne Slot is officially the manager, his coaching staff should be announced or, ready to go on day one.
Yeah, because if you go back to what Next Level says there, right? And if you look at it, like Jurgen Klopp is clearly the manager, we're going to replace him. Pep Linders as assistant manager, you presume Arne Slot is going to bring in his own assistant. Peter Kravitz was another assistant manager. Again, usually it comes in teams of 3. Okay? And then you have Vitor Matos, which was the development coach and stuff like that. Maybe the club want to do something different there, or the manager wants to do something different there. That one there with Vitor Matos is a bit, I feel like it might be a club decision there, right? And then you have a goalkeeping coach. So they're when you think of a manager and his backroom staff, it is a manager, couple of assistant manager / coaches, your elite development coach, which is a name I'd never heard before Vitor Matos had it. And, but might be something the club does. And a goalkeeping coach, that's usually the body of people.
Yeah.
The fact that John Achterberg is going, I don't think it's a massive surprise, considering, they're going to bring in a new manager or a new head coach or whatever his title is going to be. And he's probably going to want to say, look, I'm bringing 2 assistants with me. The elite development thing, they'll probably work that between the club. Is that position going to stay? But I want to bring my own goalkeeping coach. And is it a bit harsh on John Achterberg? It might be. But he's had 15 years at the club. He feels like he's the man kind of left stranded a little bit. But in the fact that the rest of the lads are going and he's not. Do you know the sort of way? Or he wasn't. You know this? And
Ashley made the point there in the chat. Yeah, Ashley made the point in the chat as well that his contract is up at the end of the season. So it's an easy decision really to make.
Yeah.
For the club, it's a very easy one to make. And
don't make
there's no harm in having different voices.
Yeah, and don't make a rash. Liverpool probably looked at him and don't make a rash decision on him. We'll appoint a new manager / head coach, and then we'll look at that situation. But we'll do it. We won't do it. We won't let the season run out and then let it run through June and then go, oh, listen, you're not needed. Because at the end of the day, it's like players that are out of contract. Players that are out of contract look for the summer to get a club, and then when it starts approaching, the start of the season, even though they can sign for anyone at any time, they start getting jittery. I won't find a club for the start of the season here.
Yeah.
And you can kind of be the forgotten man. So to give John Achterberg plenty of time to,
I don't think he'll be out of work long.
No, I'm not. I'm not saying he would, but the right thing to do is to give him. If you're going to make that decision, make it early. Next Level says Slot wants his coaching staff picked in full, which is understandable. The appointment should be announced this week. Yeah, I think it will be announced fairly soon. We're into May now, of course, and the year is absolutely flying in. But listen, all you can do is wish John Achterberg the best. I'm sure, like you said, he won't be long out of work, and. It is just unfortunately the knock-on effect of when you bring in a new manager / head coach, and on top of that you bring in new people higher up the hierarchy. It's just the way it is.
But it's something we haven't had to deal with for a long time. That's one of the advantages of having a manager in place for so long, that you don't often see change. And if you do see change, it's generally one person. Maybe an assistant manager decides, no, I want to go and take a job on somewhere else. Or manager wants players to hear a different voice, which is something I think Klopp didn't do enough of. But he'll be fine. He'll be grand.
Yeah. Archie says, is Slot 100% getting the job? I've been used to not believing what the internet is saying. You know what? When Paul Joyce tells you that they're very, very interested and now they've agreed a 11 million euro package all in for compensation to Feyenoord, and you see big accounts and journalists from the Feyenoord end basically on Liverpool channels and on Liverpool kind of media discussing the man. Listen, I'd be absolutely amazing if Arne Slot isn't the Liverpool manager announced this week or in the very, very near future. What are we on to next? Can we talk about the VAR decision that the audio was played between Nottingham Forest and Everton, and have a little chat around Everton as well, because that's all kicking off in a massive, massive way. What did you
Yeah,
make of this?
I'll tell you what. I listened to the audio, and I listened to it 2 or 3 times,
Yep.
and I'm kind of coming down on the side of Anthony Taylor here a bit, because Anthony Taylor said he thought he saw the player make contact with the ball.
Yeah, correct.
If he believes that, he's right not to give the penalty.
Correct.
Everything's a shit show after that.
Correct.
Everything
it's like they've pulled
from then
audio.
on is a shit show.
It's like they've pulled audio from some other incident and dubbed it over. Quite well. Dubbed it quite well, by the way. I just could not. Like, the funny thing for me is that in that game there was 3 incidents. Okay?
Yeah.
3 incidents. One where I think it's your man Gio Reyna gets clipped from his heel gets clipped. One where is it Alanga or one of them tries to play a ball back and it hits Ashley Young in the arm. And the other one, this one we're discussing, which is Hudson Odoi against Ashley Young. All right, Ashley Young is involved in all of them.
He is, yeah.
So I'm with you. I think when you hear the audio, the ball goes through. He doesn't give the penalty. He says, "Look, I think he played the ball. I'm not giving the penalty. I think he played the ball." So that tells you that Anthony Taylor wants the people in VAR to check it, have a look at it, and come back to him. Okay? Now, I don't think Anthony Taylor hears, from my understanding, he doesn't hear the conversation.
No.
As the VAR is checked. They just get checked complete, you're good. Okay? Yeah. So for Anthony, in this instance, I think Anthony Taylor, I don't think has done anything wrong. Bar, why didn't you see that straight off? Fair enough, you can have a go on from there. What then goes on after that is absolute made up stuff in your own head, right? So they use words, and I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but they're using things like kind of 50-50, tangled together there, going for the ball, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. There's a coming together, nothing really in it there. Yeah, you're right, it's okay, it's fine, right? Now, if you break that down, okay, and for people watching now, I'm sure you can visualize what's going on. For people listening later on the podcast, I'm sure you can visualize it as well, what we're speaking about. But if you actually take the person's words, and I don't know the person's name because it's a bit like they all look the same to me now. They all sound the same to me now. They're all just
variations of beige.
Right? Yeah, they're just variations of cabbage now at this stage, right? The thing is, like, yes, there's a tussle. Absolutely a tussle. The two of them are tussling for the ball. You can absolutely expect that. They go into the box, okay? And when they go into the box, Ashley Young does not make contact with the ball and impedes Hudson Odoi from taking the ball on towards goal. It's a penalty. Yellow card because of the double jeopardy, but it's a penalty kick. And the fact that they just talk about the coming together and all that, and that they just don't make any reference to the impact point where Ashley Young takes Hudson Odoi's foot away from him, is just off the bleeding wall.
It's mind-boggling when you start listening to the original, not the original audio, but you start listening to the original conversation between Webb and Michael Owen. Webb dismisses the first 2 penalty shouts as subjective instantly, so he doesn't want to discuss those.
Yeah.
For me, the second one was the most blatant one of the lot.
The one where it's played across.
The handball.
Because
the handball was
his hand is outside the silhouette.
And it's not even close.
No, it's not.
It's like, you know, if you've played football at any meaningful level, you know exactly what you're doing and what your body is capable, how big you're able to make yourself.
Yeah.
Especially someone of Ashley Young's experience. He doesn't have the pace, so he's got to find other ways to make himself a useful player. And he's very good at getting his body in the way of certain situations. That's the worst one of the lot for me. The third one, I can't understand how they didn't turn around and say, you have to go. What you're telling me you saw, you didn't see.
Correct.
You've made a mistake.
Because the thing is, right, we haven't got the audio on the first 2. And I'm not banging on Everton here. They're safe and they beat us and they deserve to beat us. And, You know,
Oh
they won
yeah,
against
nothing to do with
DB,
Everton whatsoever.
whoever it was. They beat someone else the weekend then. But the thing is, right? Sorry, they beat Forest, Liverpool, Burnley. Was it? Was it them to 3-2? Anyway, doesn't matter. The thing is, you're spot on, right? Because Anthony Taylor makes a clear and obvious error. Because he says, I think he's played the ball. Straight away, look at it, boom, boom, boom. But the thing is, they seem to just go to the tussle and then go, that's the cut-off point.
Yeah.
The tussle is the cut-off point, right? Instead of letting it run on and going, Anthony, he doesn't under any circumstances play the ball. It looks like he's made contact with the player's foot as he's trying to break through, and he is goal side of him. But we would recommend you go and have a look on this on the screen because it's a clear and obvious error, right?
Yeah.
It's a clear and obvious error. But I'm wondering if you go back to, forget the one where rain is clipped, right? Forget it, because that you can go into all sorts of enough contact and all this sort of stuff. And I think that goes back to the Anthony Gordon stuff from a couple of weeks ago. I think they're covering their arses on these sort of in-the-box things, right? But if you got the audio of the first one, right? The second one, I think, if you put it in chronological order, I think it's the second one, right? When he plays that ball across, I'd love to hear what Anthony Taylor says. Because if Anthony Taylor says, I don't think that touched his hand, then he's made a clear and obvious error. If he thinks it has touched his hand but it was down by his side, then he's made a clear and obvious error.
Yeah.
Where does the clear and obvious... The only way you can determine the clear and obvious is if you have the audio. And the fact is, in the handball one, his hand is out, away from his body, 4 or 5 yards from the ball. Simple as that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But this doesn't do them any favours, Kev. Like literally, I have not seen a single person listen to that audio or watch it with the audio on whether it's Twitter or wherever it might be, and turn around and go, do you know what? They're absolutely spot on the decisions he's made there.
No, I think even Howard Webb came out afterwards and said, yeah, he should have gone to the monitor. In the verbal gymnastics that he went through, which he deserves an award for that level of linguistic ability to do what he did. Yeah. He basically turned around and said, look, the VAR got it wrong. He should have sent him to the monitor and let Anthony Taylor make the decision himself.
Yeah, because all he has to do is say to him, he doesn't play the ball. There is a tussle, but there's a coming together. The ball, the piece where you think he hits the ball, he doesn't. So go to the monitor. We're telling you he doesn't hit the ball, but then tell us when you're watching it, do you think the next step in it, which is after the piece where he thinks Ashley Young plays the ball, is it a foul? It's clearly a foul.
He stops him taking the shot. It's a foul 100%. And Everton, imagine if that was a game where it was pivotal that, points for either side could keep them up or send them down.
Well, it was.
Yeah, it was
the same. I think Forest were 1 point behind with the same goal difference going into that game.
It's massive for Forest. Everton have gone on and kicked on since, but it's one of those decisions for me that confirms the next report that came out of the last meeting with the Premier League. They want that audio. They want the referee to explain major decisions on the pitch, like they do in the NFL. Yeah. Where they're connected to the microphone system in the ground, where they can explain why they've given a penalty, why, major decisions, why they've given a red card. They have to do something. I mean, it's not going away. We're not like Sweden. VAR is going to be with us. The only way year on year you can work with it is to improve it. And the only way to improve it is to communicate so much better. They have to communicate much better.
I would go a step further and I would take the monitor away from the referee. And what I would do is I would let the referee the game. And then if something happens, okay, a bit like in rugby, where the referee will go, I can give him the try, but I'm not too sure.
Can you tell me a reason why I shouldn't?
Right. So basically, what the referee does is says, I'm not giving a penalty, but I want you to tell me if that's right or wrong, because I think it's that. And then you put the responsibility on the guy with all the technology and all the replays to go, listen, you can award a penalty and a yellow card because he's coming together. And then that means that, and I keep going back to it, and I know I say this every week, and if you're listening to now, this isn't a show from 6 months ago. I'm still saying the same fucking stuff. That means then that the grey area that he can play in is gone. Okay?
Yeah.
And when we come away from that game, we can come away and go, that is fucking madness. And Kev O'Sullivan in the box has made a complete nut of bollocks of that. Yeah? That's
But at least if I'm on the pitch and you hear if you're in the crowd and you hear my explanation for the decision I made, you can like it or lump it.
Yeah.
You know, whether you agree with it or disagree with it is irrelevant.
Yeah.
I might have got it right or wrong, but at least you know.
Yeah.
You're not trying to guess how I interpreted a rule or a tug or a trip or whatever.
Yeah.
I've told you what I saw. I've told you why the decision I've made.
Mm-hmm.
And you can like it or lump it for that after that.
Yeah.
It all goes back to communications and transparency. And this idea to start when VAR was introduced, that we don't want the game re-refereed. We want the man in the middle to make the final decision. That's bullshit. And their reasoning was, well, we want football in the parks the same as football in the Premier League. It fucking ain't. They're completely different games.
But the thing is here, right? And I keep going back to rugby union, right? And I don't watch an awful lot of rugby union. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't watch. Like, I wouldn't sit down and make it my business to watch rugby union. If Ireland were on the telly, I might watch it. I wouldn't see a Champions Cup game. I wouldn't see whatever other stuff they have going on, right? I wouldn't see it. But what I would say is that it's very, very simple in rugby union. The referee is the game. And if he's unsure about something, that decision is taken away from him and brought to the video referee. And it's none of this, listen, I'll go and look at a monitor, I'm not sure. The fellow will say, what's wrong? I think that might have been a forward pass. Okay, let me have a look at it. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, it is a forward pass. The decision is a forward pass on field. Boom, there you go. And there's no, he's not, all the referee is doing is stand there saying, can you just confirm the decision for me? You'll see his hand go to his ear. Can you confirm the decision for me? Yeah, it's a forward pass. End of story. There's none of you go to the monitor and I'm not sure, and
but
no one can hear what we're saying and stuff like that.
Rugby, cricket, any sport that have made the third official technology work their best, the NFL, it all comes down to community. Cricket, the TV companies will play the audio that is happening between the umpire and the fourth official. So will rugby, so will the NFL. It's all down to communication. You get them telling everyone their decision process. Everyone is the better for it in the long. The one thing that Howard Webb said, and I really agree with him with what he said. It's a game played by people, refereed by people, and the VAR is human as well. They are going to make mistakes, and they will. No matter what you put in to help them, they will make mistakes. The only thing you can do is reduce the amount of errors down to an acceptable level.
Yeah, okay, but I don't buy that, right? Because it is played by people, it is refereed by people, and the structure is put in place to get decisions right. Now, don't get me wrong, right? If Ashley Young went to play that ball and missed the ball and didn't make contact with Hudson-Odoi, and Hudson-Odoi went down and he said no penalty, I would say it's no penalty. Like they're allowed kind of say the referee is wrong, but there's not enough there. That's absolutely fine. My biggest thing here is that the decision is either made by the referee or it's made by the guy in the box. Nothing in between the two of them.
I think the problem they've done.
And when a goal is scored, they do all these checks. That's fine. I've no problem with that because it's mostly offside and it's stuff like that. Or if a ball goes in and they think referee says, no, it's not a foul on the goalkeeper, it's a goal. Grand. We're going to stand in front of Anthony Taylor and go, I think you got that wrong, right?
Yeah.
Or he says, that's gone in, but I think you might have pushed the goalkeeper. The guy in Kev O'Sullivan in the box says, let me have a look at it. Now it's on Kev O'Sullivan to make the decision.
Exactly.
And that means that you have a decision made in front of everybody and someone is owning that decision. That's all I think it is.
Mm-hmm. And to do that, you have to give autonomy to the VAR official. At the minute, he's literally just a check. That's all he is. He's quality control.
Yeah.
He's nothing more than that. He's there to voice an opinion, but the man in the middle has to make the final decision.
Yeah.
Give him the authority. They're qualified referees. They're not just so guys they grab that the pub. Here, watch this match, and if anything's dodgy, tell me. You know, they're qualified officials. We said, do you remember the first time we did shows on VAR? We always say you have to have specialists doing this job. You know, they don't have to be brilliant. on the pitch.
Yeah.
It's a skill on its own.
It is a skill,
but
the thing is, as skilled as people may be or may not be, right? The biggest issue here is not how skilled they are. The biggest issue here is who's making the decision.
Yeah.
Who is making the decision, and how are they making it, and who is owning it? Because look, let's come away from this, right? If you go to what I'm talking about, Anthony Taylor makes that decision. Now, he's either making the decision and sticking by it and saying to VAR, I don't need your checks, right? And he has to own that if the decision's wrong after the game. Or he says, I'm not sure, can you check it? And he just stands there and says, look, he's going to stand there, we're going to mic each other up. Kev, I'm after seeing that. And Kev says he doesn't make contact with the ball. There's a coming together. And then he makes the decision. He tells him. He makes him decision. And then it means then we know whether Anthony Taylor's made it or whether Kev O'Sullivan's made it.
Yeah.
And that's all that needs. That's all that's needed. Anyway,
it doesn't need massive surgery, but it just needs tweaking. That's
we need that grey area gone. That's what we need.
Yeah,
we need
100%.
someone to either make the decision or use the facilities that you have for them to make the decision. Not to converse with you or send you to a monitor. None of that. If it goes, if it's sent to Kev O'Sullivan in the box, Kev O'Sullivan makes a decision and tells them. That's it.
Stick with Everton. Because they're you know an awful lot more about this story than I do. But I saw the story that broke. Well, actually, it wasn't me. It was one of the guys in the Telegram members group who lives in Australia.
Yeah,
put a quote in that the airline that 777 are either major shareholders in or what have you.
Yeah.
Has got into administration. All their flights were grand and what have you.
I can't remember the name of the airline. It's something like
Bonza or something.
Bonza or something. So the Everton stuff. The Everton stuff, and I keep an interest in this. A couple of reasons. One, it's Everton, okay, and two, good friend of mine, Dave Downey, big Everton fan. He's been on this show before. I'm always chatting to him about it, and do you know what? It's not me kind of sitting there going all giddy, all giddy going, where are they going to go? It's not that at all. I'm as interested in this as much as I am in the Man City stuff, because I just think the way clubs are being ran, are allowed to be ran, the fallout from it can be horrendous for people that work at football clubs, players, fans, whatever it might be. And do you know what? I kind of, when I look at these things, I kind of look and go, Bonzo Airlines, as someone said there. When I look at these sort of things, I kind of go, geez, could you imagine that happened to us? Or how has it got that far and stuff like that, right? So with Everton, and this is my understanding of it, right? So from talking to Dave and from reading up and stuff, and your man Auclair, what's his name?
Philippe Auclair.
Philippe Auclair has done some brilliant articles on it, right? So where they are at the moment is this: Everton are losing money hand over fist. That's it, right? There's no other fucking way about putting it, right? They currently have loans out with 777 for, I think it's somewhere in the region of £185 million. Okay, and Everton are currently waiting on £16 million to come in for another loan to cover wages. Okay,
that came in.
Yeah, so that was
came in today.
Yeah, right. So that was to cover wages. So that's how bad things are. They're waiting on loans to come in to cover wages at the football club. All right, they're in these debt to 777. Who, and this is how they work. 777 are going to give Everton 200 million quid. They're not going to take it from their own money. They're going to go to some other financial institution. I'm not going to name anyone, because it wouldn't be fair to name financial institutions that may be giving 777 money. But they go there and they say, can I have 200 million off you? And they say, yeah, you can have that over 3 years at 5%. Okay? 777 then go and give that 200 million quid to Everton and say to Everton, you're going to pay us back 12.5%. So for doing fuck all, right, bar processing the numbers, 777 get their money back off Everton and they make 7.5%, right, on that over 3 years, right? That's how they work, okay? They are invested in other football clubs, okay? They are invested in that airline and stuff like that. And the reason they're losing the money, the reason they're going, look, I think there might be, is a Standard Liège they're involved with, is it Genoa?
Hertha Berlin.
Yeah, there's a loads of
Brazilian club.
And the reasons is because they don't have cash flow, okay? They're loaning to loan. That's all they're doing, right?
Yeah.
And that's why they're late for this, they're late for that. The PR company they were working with, apparently they're not working with them anymore. This airline is being grounded because, they haven't been able to pay this, that, and the other. But just going back to Everton, 777 want hold of Everton to protect their interest, okay? Because if Everton, and the rumour is that they've met with insolvency specialists, okay? If Everton were to go bust tomorrow, right, and 777 or 777 or whatever you call them are left standing there with 200 million quid worth of loans, any liquidator or any administrator is going to go, listen, we're putting a package together here, somebody's going to come in and you're going to get 10 pence on the pound. So that means that 777 owes somebody 200 million and they're getting 20 million back off Everton, which absolutely ruins them. So they're trying to get into the football club, and I think the football club is becoming a secondary issue here, as hard as it is to believe. I think the tug of war here is the stadium, right?
Yeah.
Because the stadium is the only asset Everton have at the minute, right? Bar a couple of players that you can sell, but even selling them players, if you look at the amount of players out of contract at Everton and say really good saleable assets, okay, it's not going to cover what they owe, right? There's another crowd then called MSP, I think it's MSP, who are owed 160 million off Everton Football Club because they put so much into the stadium. If they don't get it back, right, they have a claim on 50% of the stadium and 50% of Fahad Mashiri's shares in Everton, right? So Mashiri is trying his best to get this sale of 777 through, okay? So he can take his money and run, okay? Them shares, right, will then fall into 777's hands, but MSP can come along and go, by the way, we own 50% of them if you don't pay our bills. And the only thing that's going to pay the bills for Everton Football Club right now, it won't be player sales, it'll be that stadium. And what'll happen is if you have the Kev O'Sullivan Bank own fucking 200 million by 777, they'll come along and go, listen, I'll tell you what we'll do, we'll give you the name and rights on that stadium for X amount of years to cover it. And that's where it's going to be. 445 grand a week, according to Scouts of P, they're paying in loans.
It's beggars belief. I remember doing a pod with Dom from the Road In pod, and it was all about the time when this stuff started to kick off with Everton, right? And we were all saying, "Oh, isn't it? It's Everton. They're almost taking the piss, really." And then Dom turned around and said, the harm that this can do to the city, to the employment in the city, is ferocious. We're going over there in a few weeks, and the amount of people who travel to Liverpool from all over for Liverpool games is huge. The amount of tourism it generates is massive. For any Premier League club, any city
Everton's
with a Premier
same.
League club, it's huge. It's exactly the same.
Of course.
So Liverpool got double bubble.
Yeah, but you see, people
massive.
think, and Everton like to portray this thing of, born not manufactured shite, right?
Yeah.
So many people come into the city to watch Everton at the weekend.
Yeah.
Right? And so many people come into the city to watch Liverpool the following weekend. The infrastructure or the economy for both of them is huge. Liverpool probably slightly bigger. They have a bigger ground, and stuff like that, right? But if you look at even Goodison Park, they don't know what they're doing with it.
No.
They're talking about regenerating, and people are like, I don't think it'll be worth it. Shops around the area won't be worth it. Well, they won't survive.
What are you going to do?
So what they're doing is they're moving Everton's whole economy down onto the dock, right? Okay, which realistically, Goodison Park should be regenerated to an air, boom, boom, boom. And they're talking about they don't know what to do with it. There's no value to it. There's absolutely no value to it. Do you know
it's devastating to the area. It's devastating
absolutely
to the area.
Absolutely devastating. But the biggest thing out of this, Kev, is this is not about the football club anymore. This is about Fahad Mashiri, right? Looking to get his money back, what he's put into the stadium, and run, right? You've got MSP who hold claim over certain things because of money they're owed, right? You've got 777 that won't be able to come in and pay off MSP, right? And at the same time, can the club generate enough money to pay themselves back, to give it back to the other financial institution that have given the original loan?
It's such a mess.
Absolutely all over the place. And, people are going, the Middle East, and someone from the Middle East will come in and buy Everton Football Club. They may well do. But then what you're down to is that Everton are then probably owned by a country, right?
Yeah.
And we've had enough of people being owned by countries. Do you get me? But look, I don't
It's
know
not
what's
even
going to happen.
that. I mean, for
I
me,
don't know
it's
what's
down
going to happen.
to
I don't know what's going to happen with Everton. But right now, like Dave Downey said on Dave Downey said on Twitter the other day, he said, brilliant that we stayed up, but like we realistically, like I think it was something along the lines of every time we do this and we stay up, which has been for the last 3 seasons, we say never again. We can't let this happen again, but it's going to happen again, and people
I think
absolutely
the pain they're going to suffer next year
But
is
people lifted him out of
going
it.
to be
People were like,
crazy.
"Oh, can you not enjoy yourself for a couple of days?" And he was like, "Yeah, I can,
Yeah.
but let's be realistic about this." And at the end of the day, right? At the end of the day, if somebody comes in and rescues Everton, why would they come in now and do it?
No,
Like
you wait
genuinely,
until
why would they will wait
the
till they go
stress
into
aspect.
administration, right? They'll wait till the administration. The debts on the club will go from 400 to 40. Okay?
Yeah.
So someone will come in and go, I'll buy the club for X amount of money. But the thing is, there's so much claim over that stadium that will it be part of the deal when you go to buy Everton?
I
Will
said
they
it
own
to you the other day. This stinks of Coventry City.
Yeah.
And for anyone who doesn't know the story about what happened with Coventry, they built a brand new stadium. They were playing. They were in the
Yeah.
Premier League. They were in a new stadium. Then suddenly they lost the stadium, and they ended up having to play their games in Milton Keynes, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And all of this happened under the watchful eye of the Premier League,
Yeah.
which is again happening now. It makes a mockery of this fit and proper person's malarkey. And to people who turn around and say, let people who've got money go and buy whatever they want and run it. That's an absolute joke. Fahad Mashiri had money until he got bored, and then you look at the shit show that he's created.
Yeah, because
You know?
Farhad Mashiri
It's
thought
not as if
he thought he was going to come in there, all right? He was going to throw a load of money at it. He was going to make Everton halfway successful. They were going to build a new stadium with the help of whether that be the council or whoever else. He'd have his name on it. Usmanov was in there beside him, and everything was going to be great. And what was going to happen was he was basically going to look. I think he was going to look, get the stadium, be halfway decent, and we'll sell this for mega money somewhere, and we walk out the door. But what's happened is it's gone completely the other way. Huge news though. Paul Gallagher says his chips arrived from McDonald's and they were still warm, which is good stuff.
Bravo.
Yeah, absolute bonus. But look, the thing with Everton is that I don't think any sensible businessman out there is looking at or Sheikh or whoever they might be. And again, will they get past the fit and proper persons test because of what's gone on? Probably will, because
that
you know
needs
the way.
to be strengthened.
Yeah, but the thing is, right? Nobody out there is looking going, I'll pay 700 or 800 million for Everton, or whatever I'll pay,
Not all.
because the stadium, there's people laying claim to the stadium all over the place.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And that'll go through High Court to be settled.
Yes,
You're not,
and the
you're
likes
not
of
making.
the likes of companies that are on, you see 777 are not bother because they've no claim over the stadium. They're trying to get in to lay claim to it. But the likes of other debtors to Everton, right, or creditors, whatever way you want it, I don't know which way that is. I think it's creditors to Everton, right? The way it is with them is that they're sitting there going, we don't care if you owe us 160 and you tell us we're getting 10 pence on the pound. We have it in a deal that if we don't get our money back, we own 50% of that football club and 50% of the stadium. So we're covering our 160 million by keeping that football club and keeping the stadium. But if the football club goes down the drain, right, or get very close to it, the stadium is the only asset there. How much is the stadium worth? It's worth more than 160 million, I can tell you.
Guaranteed.
So, you know what I mean? If that's worth 500 million, that creditor is sitting there going, 160, we get 50%, we're getting 250 million back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Exactly.
nobody can
Watch
come
this
in,
space.
unless somebody's willing to come in and go, yeah, listen, that crowd and that crowd have claims up to 300 million on that ground. We'll pay that, and we'll pay that 50 million there, and we'll pay that 200 million there. They won't, because they'll just let it all die down into administration. And if it goes into administration, they end up starting the season on minus 9 points. That's how it works. Yeah. And then, and not only that, Kev, then on top of that, they have to look at their finances for the last 3 years, which means if they were losing more than 105 million over that 3-year period, they're getting another points deduction.
They're guaranteed to be in that boat no matter what jiggery pokery they do.
Yeah, it's
one sec.
It's absolutely crazy. And you know what? I don't know what's going to happen with it. Will someone come in and save Everton? I don't know. But right now, the way I look at it is the amount of claim going on over different things at that club, and the amount people just wanting to get in to protect their own money, not to do anything for the football club, is extremely
I
worrying.
mean, can you imagine what it must be like if you're a player there as well?
Yeah,
You
but the
don't
amount
know
there's
what's
loads of
going
them
on
out
with
of
your
contract,
contract.
loads of them out of
Yeah,
contract, Kev.
they can't
Right,
they can't re-sign anyone.
right. There are loads
And
of them out of contract. They're losing money hand over fist, and
yeah,
then you might have to go and sell Brantwaite, Pickford,
Pickford,
Calvert-Lewin at
Calvert-Lewin.
a push, Onana. There's probably 5 or 6 there where you get decent money for them. But what's it doing for you?
No, it'll
You're
destroy
taking
it.
out loans to pay wages. So now it means that even if you sell all them, you mightn't have to take out loans to pay wages. But you can't pay wages. You know what I mean?
No.
It's absolutely crazy. But we'll see what happens. I am going to try to get Dave on in the next couple of weeks to discuss it more
Yeah.
and see where it went on. Lastly, we're going to be getting linked with every Dutch player going, every foreigner playing going because of Arne Slot, imminent arrival at Liverpool. There's one name that's being thrown out there very, very heavy at the moment. I can't even say his name, Kev. I'm going to be honest with you.
Lutrashel Gertruda.
Lutrashel Gertruda. Okay, nice name.
Yeah.
Apparently plays at the back, can play in midfield,
right back.
defensive midfield, right, all the positions. But he's
a
being
right back.
linked. Apparently he's out of contract at the end of the season, I think.
No, he's got a year left.
A year left
He's got
at the
a
end
year
of-
left. Yeah, he's got a year left in his deal. But
And
he's 23 years of age.
Yeah,
and
open to a move.
Yeah.
All I'm saying that,
Yeah,
right?
he's from Feyenoord. He's from Rotterdam.
Yeah.
Um,
But my question was
come
going to
through-
be, is it a bit early for all this, Kev?
No, because the thing is, he'll probably want to bring someone in that knows his system and is comfortable in it. The question is, should that player be a right back? Bear in mind the quality and depth that we have at right back. Unless Slot comes in and says, okay, Gertrude, you're going to be my 6, or Trent, you're going to be playing in a double pivot from now on, right back is covered. Which is extremely possible if they do bring in this guy. It's something that I could see happen, easily. He is good. He is very good. Is he
Never
good
heard of
enough for a jump to Liverpool? I don't know. He's rapid. He's. I suppose the only reason he's not played more for Holland is the fact that Dumfries is ahead of him. He's played. I think he's got 18-year caps for the Netherlands. But the reason, Van Gaal is wedded to Dumfries, loves him. So, but he's the right age. He can play. He is pretty good, and he would be. I think he's played every game this season for Slot. He scored 6 goals from right back. He's predominantly a right back. He's played some 30 games at right back for him this season. He's played a few at centre back. He can do a job in a 6, but he's not really a 6.
Yeah.
He's kind of like the Joe Gomez version of a 6.
Yeah.
He is a right back.
But if you're telling me he's going to play right back, I'm looking at him saying to myself, all right, the Trent thing into midfield starts to come in, and I'm horrified at the thought of it. I'm going to be honest with you. I think Trent is an absolutely, I'm absolutely think he's an unbelievable footballer, Trent Alexander-Arnold. I just don't think he's a midfielder. And if don't get me wrong, if you're going to go out and absolutely control games from start to finish, and put 2 fellas around them that can break up play brilliantly and stuff like that, great.
Yeah,
but I think
that's not
my
gonna
big worry is, look, I'll put it this way: if I'm playing Trent in midfield as this 6 or whatever it might be, right?
Yeah.
As teams, if I'm the opposition team, I'm saying, do you know what? Just sit in here, and I'm just going to put 2 really mobile fellas in the middle of the park, and we're just going to break them. And I've seen it in front of my own eyes happen, right, when we played Villa last season. And Jacob Ramsey absolutely ran all over him when the ball got turned over in midfield. And that's my worry. Maybe you can go and protect him in some sort of way. Maybe you can. But
that's the only reason I could see, because it would cost you, even with a year left in his deal, it's going to cost in the region of 30 million to get him. The thing is, you have to look at what happened with Manchester United when they started going back to Ajax for Ten Hag players.
Yeah.
They got rolled for every single one of them.
Yeah.
Feyenoord know that this kid wants to leave. He'd be about the only one that I could see us being linked with from the Everton visit, full stop.
Okay.
And that would only be if Slot has a vision of putting Trent into midfield as a double six with a destroyer next to it. And that can't be Alexis McAllister, because I could see Alexis McAllister becoming a 10.
Yeah, and listen, don't get me wrong. Like, you see, I'm probably guilty over here now, thinking of, Liverpool in a Klopp sort of system with a guy deeper, and maybe he does go in and go, do you know what? We're going to put a guy in beside you, and we're going to put a guy in front, and then we have two wingers, and we have a guy for whatever. It might be a thing to it. Like Anthony says, he's done with the inverted right back. The way we do it, put an extra man in middle and vacate the right, so the opposition puts an extra man in too. It's completely nullified. The thing is, like, if you like, people compare it to the City way of doing it, but we're actually putting an unbelievably gifted, creative player in there. When they do it, they put John Stones in. He's a centre back.
Yeah.
So his first thought is to fall back in. Like, it depends who you're going to do it with. And look, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't like the idea of it, but I'm quite happy to be wrong, because Arne Slot comes in here and says, I'm playing Trent in the 2 midfield, and I don't really give a fuck what you think, and I know we can do it. I'll go, hands up, go for it, bud. At the end of it. Go for it, bud, yeah. You know what I mean? You have to be open to this stuff, I suppose, as well.
I think I've listened to the same podcast and read the same articles as everyone else. But I went and looked at the stats of how Feyenoord scored their goals. And Arne Slot is really heavily dependent on his number 9. They don't put many crosses in. They generally play the cutback, look for the cutbacks, and try to work 1-2s or around the middle of the box to get the 9s into the best possible position. So if you're a guy who's coming in and you're not building a side around putting crosses in from deep or playing long balls in behind, you're wasting Trent at right back by doing that. Whereas if you can put him in midfield to dictate play and to do kind of like what Thiago was doing, or, somewhere you can bounce the ball off him, he's comfortable on the ball, he can pass it anywhere on the pitch, he's got good vision, and then you put something next to it. It's just a way that Slot tends, from reading the stats, I haven't watched any of their games massively, but I've watched a lot of the highlights of some of their games, and you can tell how that Mexican striker is manna from heaven for him. The fact that he's scored so many goals. He doesn't get that many goals off his wingers, even though people say he loves wingers. They're not goal-scoring wingers. They're providing width and going one-on-one at fullback, create chances.
He's looking for his 9 to get loads of chances, and he's looking for guys like a McAllister from a 10 and fellas from midfield to get in there,
Feed him,
Yeah. And look, it's not going to be long before we find out how this goes, because the season will be over.
Pre-season is going to be the most this pre-season is going to be the most watched pre-season that we've ever had.
Yeah, because we'd be all dying to see what way it goes. And like I said, I'm probably a bit too close-minded on the Trent stuff, but I should be a little bit. I should be. Do you know what? I apologise for that point of view, Kev. I should be more open-minded, and let's.
Scott Mates put a player in there that's interesting.
Coop Miners,
because Slot had him at AZ. He had him at AZ Alkmaar.
Yeah, and he was linked with Liverpool.
Sold him for good money.
The summer before
last year and the year before.
Yeah,
but when you watched him for Atalanta against us, he was very good.
Next level says Mats Wiefer has been linked as a 6 who's at Feyenoord. That Slot knows. Wiefer's like a Dutch Rodri.
No chance.
We need a Rodri type player in the midfield. Don't even know who that fella is.
There is no hope.
And that's not me. That's not me being. Yeah, that's not me being like a prick about it. I genuinely don't know who these players are, and I don't. I've never even seen a manager manage a game, so it's all new to me. But look, we're not going to do transfer. We just thought we'd talk about that before we go. We're not going to do. We're genuinely not going to do transfer shows till the probably start middle of June, and then we go from there. And you will get players linked and stuff like that. And if something pops out of the blue, we will do a show on them. But that's how we usually work. Let me see. Yus says, I'm not vouching for any players from now on. I spent 2.5 years pointing for Szoboszlai and got absolutely pied. Don't be worried about Szoboszlai. Szoboszlai, for me, came in, was brilliant, got an injury, wasn't great when he came back from it, kind of picked up again. And then I think he's lost a bit of confidence and a little bit of direction in what he's trying to do at Liverpool. And you know what? He was signed by Klopp, and he might be a bit fucking put out that Klopp's leaving. That might be part of it. But they all have a clean slate, and they all could play. The gas thing is, players could come out now in the start of pre-season. You go, geez, he's doing stuff I never thought he'd do. That's brilliant. And then there could be players where you absolutely nail your colours to their mast, and you're kind of going, he's just not walking in this. You know, the sort of way. That's what happens when new managers and
Can't
stuff
wait
comes
for
in.
pre-season. I'm looking forward to pre-season in a lot of ways. But look, at the end of the day, couple of days now, we have our top second last game against Spurs.
Yeah, second last home game. Yeah,
The second last whole game. So,
yeah,
this is I can't wait for this one. If the players can't muster the energy and get up for this game above all others after everything that's happened after the Spurs game this season, then
yeah.
you know they're permanently on the beach. This is one where their level of balls is going to be tested.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And Liverpool actually one more win and kind of sorts out top four anyway. It does. It absolutely does. Yeah. But look, we're gonna leave it at that. Just to let you know, our fundraisers are in the description. If you're watching now or you're listening later, check out the show description. Fan supporting food banks and the Lighthouse, two great organisations. We're trying to raise 10 grand, 5 grand each. It's slow. It's very slow. But we won't give up. I don't care if I'm here in a year's time still telling you, so let's just keep going. So the link is in the description for that. Our golf day is at the end of June. If you want to donate to that, i.e. sponsor tee boxes, long drives, nearest the pin, all that money goes towards the charity. So if you want to do that, email us talkinkop1@gmail.com. You can do that there. Phil's one for the Laura Lynn Hospice is also in there as well, if you want to donate to that. So if you have a fiver or a tenner or 20 or 50 or 100 or whatever you have, split it between us and Phil and get him the 5 grand. We've basically made the decision that fan supporting food banks, the Lighthouse and the Laura Lynn Hospice are getting 5 grand each off us, no matter how long it takes. All right. Fan supporting food banks and the Lighthouse have already received €1,000 each because we went past the 2,000. And when we get past 4,000, we'll give them another 1,000 each. We're not going to wait till the very end. We're going to keep topping them up as much as we possibly can. Football prizes, latest prize is there. It was launched yesterday. It's open until next Monday. It's $3.95 a ticket, I think. It's a Sammy Hupia framed and custom framed with custom LEDs signed Hupia jersey. I think there's about 18 instant prizes to go with that from the likes, I think, of Gerrard, Alonso, players around Barros, I think, as well, players around that whole 2005 era. So go and check that out. The link is in the description for that as well. What day is today, Kev? Wednesday today? Wednesday. We'd drop back on Thursday and Friday and try to do something for you. And then we'll definitely be back on Sunday with reaction to Liverpool and Spurs, and Sunday night with the Sunday night show. Anything else before we go, Kev?
Looking forward to the weekend now. You got a golf video dropping? Or has one come out? Or
golf videos. Yeah, do you know what? I have 7 golf videos there. Not edited. I have 7 potential videos there. I'm working on them as much as I can, but I'm up to my eyes with this football stuff. I'm up to my eyes with other work. I'm literally going, I'll do a half an hour on this and then I'll do a half an hour on that. And it's non-stop. I was out doing another job today and I brought that home and I start working on that and stuff. So I'm about halfway through a golf video at the minute. I should have it out in the next couple of days. And then I'm probably going to put a day aside next week where I just literally lock myself in the room and edit the life out of golf stuff. We did the 7 of them there, 3 of them including one of the sponsors, Gary from Simply Finance, and he brought his 2 brothers, and the 4 of us went out for a game, and we great crack.
You reckon one of them was a bit of a player as well, didn't he?
Very competitive lads. But I really enjoyed it. So yeah, if you're not subscribed to Bang Average Golf, type it in there. You'll see it. There's a couple of Bang Average Golfs on YouTube. I didn't realise that before, but everyone is a white logo with black and red and stuff on it. So go and check it. About 400 subscribers at the moment. So if you can help us out there, subscribe. It's a bit of crack, even if you don't like golf. We play golf. Cool. We have a bit of crack. How we play is how you see it, and then we have a bit of laugh in between, especially when me and Neely start getting into rows and stuff like that. But yeah, that's it. We've gone. We said we were doing 40 minutes. We've done 59 minutes, Kev. We never ever stay.
Never ever get out on time.
No, never.
No. So
yeah. Thanks to Kev. Great to see him back from his holiday. Thanks to me for I don't know why. Thanks to everyone in the chat. Hit like, subscribe, comment. Become a member if you want, and we'll do our best to be back to you tomorrow with some sort of podcast. It may involve football, it may involve talking about belts. Don't know. Talk to you in a bit. Over and out.